Before he would have his own brick at the Liberty Memorial, his own display at the National Museum of American History, he would meet Presidents Woodrow Wilson, Calvin Coolidge, Warren G. Harding, appear on vaudeville stages, be awarded lifetime memberships to both the YMCA and the American Legion, plus much more. But this would all be after serving in the trenches of the Western Front for 18 months during World War I, where he would participate in 4 separate offensives and 17 battles. That's right, everybody. He has been called the most decorated war dog of the Great War and is the only dog to be promoted to sergeant through combat service. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Stubby. But before we get into this video, it is not monetized or sponsored, so the best way to help out is to buy a shirt or some merch. Check it out. Thank you. Love y'all. Born in 1916, Sergeant Stubby was a Boston Terrier or Bull Terrier mutt. Nothing is known of his first year of life, but in July 1917, Stubby would be found wandering the grounds of Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. He would often stop and watch the members of the 102nd Infantry Division as they would train and run drills. One soldier in particular, Corporal James Robert Conroy, would develop such a fondness for Stubby that when it came time to ship out, Corporal Conroy would smuggle Stubby aboard the USS Minnesota and they would remain undetected all the way until France. This may be where Stubby's lucky streak would begin because he was discovered by Conroy's commanding officer when they were leaving the ship. But Stubby would salute the officer, and the officer would let him stay, where he would remain the unofficial mascot of the 102nd Infantry 26th Yankee Division. Just a heads up, guys, I'm an American bully and I'm not French, so a lot of these French names I'm gonna pronounce wrong probably, so I'm sorry. On February 5th, 1918, Stubby would enter combat for the first time at Chemin des Dames, where he would be under constant enemy fire 24/7 for over a month, but he would remain unharmed. However, in April 1918, during a raid to take the village of Seicheprey, Stubby would be wounded in one of his front legs and chest by a German hand grenade. He would then be sent for medical care at a Red Cross recovery hospital, where he would wander around visiting and boosting the morale of other wounded soldiers. And once he was fully recovered, he went right back to the front line trenches. While on the front lines, his role would evolve from simply a morale-boosting mascot to a fully certified, badass brother-in-arms. Stubby would survive a mustard gas attack, which led him to develop an extreme sensitivity to even trace amounts of the gas. This would allow him to detect the gas attacks and warn his fellow soldiers of the incoming poisonous clouds almost as soon as the attacks were launched. By late summer 1918, Stubby was back in action on the front and participated in the recapture of Chateau Thierry, where he would become beloved by the French women. Women of the town would make him a chamois blanket complete with Allied flags, military wound stripe, and the chevrons denoting his military service, as well as a variety of medals. During the Meuse-Argonne offensive, he would also help to apprehend a German spy that was attempting to map Allied trenches. This capture would lead to Stubby being promoted to the rank of sergeant, making him the first dog in U.S. Armed Forces to receive this rank. And to give you a little hint of just how impressive this is, the Meuse-Argonne offensive is, people think D-Day was huge. That was 150,000 people, I think. I'm not good explaining it. Just here, listen to Fat Electrician.
In the Meuse-Argonne offensive, it is quite literally the largest military offensive in U.S. military history. Not largest at this point in time, no, just the largest ever, period. The Meuse-Argonne offensive is 2 million men attacking the German front. There's 50 states in the United States, 11 of them have less than 2 million people.
During his time on the front, Stubby would provide aid in many ways. He would be extremely helpful in the location of wounded soldiers on the battlefield that may have otherwise died in no man's land. His hearing would also allow him to detect incoming artillery shells, making it possible to warn his fellow soldiers of them as well. After 4 offensives and 17 battles during the 18 months in the trenches, Sergeant Stubby finally returned home to America with Conroy, where he would live out the rest of his life. When J. Robert Conroy began studying law at Georgetown University, Stubby would join him and become a mascot once again, this time for the Georgetown Hoyas. Sadly, though, on March 16, 1926, Sergeant Stubby would pass away in Washington, D.C. His death would earn him obituaries in many newspapers, including the Post and the New York Times. But that's not where Sergeant Stubby's story ends, because you can still visit him and pay your respects. That's right, Sergeant Stubby was such a badass brother-in-arms that today Stubby remains, although taxidermied, at the Smithsonian Institute National Museum of American History Armed Forces Collection in Washington, D.C. Or if that's too far from you, he's also been honored with a brick in the Walk of Honor at the World War I Monument in Kansas City and with this statue in Connecticut. Sergeant Stubby remains the real granddaddy of war dogs and is a true American hero and an inspiration to dogs everywhere. And maybe people too. Thanks for watching, everybody. Love ya.